Oh, I see it. And then,
There we go. Okay, let's see.
All right, we are now live.
I don't see it.
So, if you want to find our current stream, you can go to my personal Facebook page, or you can go to the Unique Women's Coalition's page. And let me find the video myself, and then that way I can share it.
Okay, I don't see it on your page.
Okay, so I am sharing it right now.
Okay. So I'm not seeing it on your page.
Okay, so go to the Unique Women's Coalition. Look.
Okay, let me see.
I saw a banner that said Unique Women's Coalition that were live.
Perfect.
yeah.
Here.
I think I'm sharing it.
Okay, so I just posted it on my own page if you want to take a look, if that's easier for you to find.
I can't. Okay, Unique. Let me try it again.
Tracy, Queen Tracy is already having someone speak out to her. Monique says,
Okay.
Hi, Tracy, love you.
Okay, I see a latest post. Click on here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. There you go. And then share. Okay, share. Share public. Okay.
Opening. Have we did the opening credits?
Okay, so while you all figure this out, we do want to ask all of you that are watching currently to please take a moment and share this stream. And if you like, start a watch party. We want to get as many community members involved in this conversation as possible. Tonight's conversation is old school loving. So we are having a conversation with some of our more seasoned community members, and it's a long time coming. So, are we all ready?
Ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Ready?
All right. Queen Shannon.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Shannon. I'm the office coordinator for Unique Women's Coalition. And I'm excited tonight about delving into this topic of our old school community members and look forward to it.
Yeah, I do too. Now, before we keep skipping around this whole old school, elderly, seasoned, I just want to get some clarity, okay? Now, when we were coming up with ideas to have this conversation, we're immediately like, oh, well, let's have a conversation with our elders. But wait a minute, is that disrespectful? So, and then we came up with seasoned, as in, well-traveled, seasoned, and so we just want to ask each of you, how do you like to be approached? What's appropriate for people to not only show the respect for you being older, but more experienced as well?
Well, I personally prefer the term seasoned over elder or senior. I definitely prefer the term seasoned.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm 69 and I'm an elder. I made it past 35. I got my life
Tracy,
together.
you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Oh, sorry. How did I get off that?
We hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
you broke my stride, Lord Jesus. No, no, I mean, I'm old school. I'll be 70 years old next year. I am proud that I reached this time in my life. It is no joke. Being a trans woman of African American experience who transitioned in 1970 and still here, you better call me an elder, okay?
I
Yeah.
heard that.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love
Yeah.
it. Anyone else?
So for me, I think to have made it this far, my birthday is next Tuesday, a week from today. I'll be 69. And
Yay!
so, you know, because I don't really believe the statistic, but I do know from my own personal experience, the transgender experience, our life expectancy isn't 59, 60, 70 for the most part. So it is an honor just to be considered, because so many of us didn't make it this far.
Mm-hmm.
From I want to say my journey traveled. It hasn't been smooth sailing. It's been whoop de doop and woo,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
to still be here in an upright position, it's an honor. So I don't think I'm at the elder stage yet, but I'm old school definitely, and I'm proud for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Love that. Um, how about our king on here?
Well, for me, it's having just being considered a senior. I guess is something new for me. I'm 56, or I'll be 56 in October. And when I'm around younger people and they remind me or let me know that I'm a little older and a little well seasoned, it takes me by surprise. Especially when nobody's asking me for to see my ID anymore. When I yeah, so I guess well seasoned is a good word for is a good way to explain and maturity. Yes, is something is a good word.
Okay. Okay. So we like seasoned, we like elder. All right. I love it. Old school. Okay.
Cool.
Some of the
So
young folks,
everybody can
they call you pop or unc and all of that, and it's
uh-huh.
just my heart, my spirit still says I'm 20 years old. You know, but the gray hairs and the experience that I've gone through says that yeah, you're 56. The aches really says it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
don't,
wonderful.
yeah, don't mention gray hair.
So today, Black
Hold on.
trans.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna introduce our panelists. So let's see. Who are we having conversation with tonight? Or who are we having conversation with tonight? So our first panelist is the fabulous Unique Zaire. She's a graduate of Fairfax High School and also Barbizon Modeling School. Unique is also a vocalist and stage performing artist. In the late 80s, she was a pageant title holder of Miss West Coast in Los Angeles under the assumed name of Miss Brown Sugar. She worked
Okay,
as a
brown
health
sugar.
educator. I'm sorry, what happened?
Just giving her roses. That's all. Just giving her
Okay.
girl.
She worked as a health educator, consultant, HIV testing counselor, and social worker. This is also when her work for the transgender community began. It was 1997. For over more than 6 years, she's been in the process of developing unique turning point. This is how, which is to be a sober living house totally geared for the trans people of color. Welcome, Unique Zaire. Our next fabulous panelist is the legendary Miss Tracy Jada O'Brien. Since surviving the mean streets of San Francisco's Tenderloin district in the 1970s as a young transgender street kid, Tracy Jada O'Brien has persevered and worked tireless to become an outstanding role model, and a staunch advocate for San Diego and the nation's transgender communities. For the last 16 years, she has provided life affirming services to San Diego's transgender and nonconforming community. Her accomplishments are many. However, what is important is to pass the strength, the tenacity, and courage on to the next generation so that they can live beyond their wildest dreams. It's important that our young people know that we have a rich history of survival and resilience. Welcome, Queen Tracy O'Brien.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, for the king on the panel, Minister Lee Arney, a successful, savvy entrepreneur, minister, social justice advocate, and business owner, was born biologically female, but has lived his life psychologically and spiritually as a man. He was born and raised in Los Angeles County, California, and graduated from Los Angeles Job Corps as a licensed vocational nurse.
Mm.
He later relocated to Las Vegas, Nevada, where he used his business skills to start an award-winning catering company, Arnie's Smoky Barbecue.
Okay.
Lee also worked with the Las Vegas Pride Committee in the beginning stages and became involved in the LGBT advocacy. Lee is currently a minister at Unity Fellowship of Christ Church. Lee is now married and a father of two twin boys. Lee is one of the co-founders of Alpha Omega Nu, Inc. fraternity and co-founder of Divine Transitions, a ministry for people of trans experience. Welcome. And last but certainly not least, our chocolate goddess, Miss Alexis McGee. She's a 59-year-old Black trans woman, a prevention case manager for the Adam Project at BHS, and currently resides in Long Beach. Her journey has taken her through several paths, from sex work, drugs, and prisons, and into recovery. She set out to further her education and to ultimately live a better and happier life. Her goal is to empower others like her who may share similar experiences and our histories by assisting them in finding their true purpose. And prayerfully, they pay it forward. And congratulations to the recent graduate, Miss Alexis McGee.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we lost minister.
Okay, then I will go and search for him and I'll turn it over to Queen Shannon.
Sorry about that. I was having
Oh, here
Wi-Fi
comes.
All right. And now it's on you, Queen. It's all yours.
Okay. Today, a black trans person's life expectancy is about 35 years old. So we want to have a conversation about getting older and what that looks like. This conversation is long overdue, and I can't wait to dive in. Back to you, Michelle.
Okay. Well, we already asked them what they prefer. So I think that we could just go on and start with the first question. So we like old school, we like elders, we like seasoned, they like it all.
Got it. So I'm gonna go with season. Season was my favorite. Well seasoned. And with everything going on in the pandemic, what are some ways to keep yourself in good health, both mentally and physically? And I'll start with Miss Unique.
Well, being inspired by in the direction of trying to assist and helping others. That seems to be for me what is a very driving factor and something that consistently keeps me going. At 62 and a well-seasoned woman that has predominantly raised 6 children,
Come on.
that love and desire to nurture seems to just be inevitable. And then when I take that further into a spiritual concept from which I definitely devour myself, um, it too is a nurturing thing. When you minister vocally to others, it is nurturing. It is healing, and that also goes into my transitional house. That again is about rehabilitation and being nurturing and healing for others. So my journey seems to be more less about myself and more about being empowered into others and being nurturing to others.
Thank
Well,
you. Thank you for that.
well, well, and if I can, so what do you do for Unique? How does Unique unwind?
I'm going to first say that I'm an Aquarius. If that should have anything to do with it, I am an Earth sign, which is a water barrier, and so water for me is one of the most healing, nurturing things that I can do for me. Is to involve my. And if you read or see in my posts, quite often I'm at the ocean, and the reason for that is about my pleasure. That gives me joy just looking into the ocean and watching it, and that's what I enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
And the same question is for Miss Alexis. During the pandemic, what is some ways to keep yourself healthy, both mentally and physically, during the pandemic?
Um, for me, it is a part of my life. Who I am today is due to recovery. So even in the pandemic, with safer at home protocols and quarantine, social distancing, and things of this nature, there is still a need for some kind of physical contact, even if it's just visual. So I'm blessed to be in a position where I can feel, who'd have ever thought that Zoom would be a way, to connect with other people. And somewhere, I want to think it was a reading that I used to read all the time in meetings when I first got out of prison in '97. And they said, in order to keep what we have to give it away freely the way it was given to us.
Come
And
on.
so I say that to a part of what keeps me safe, sane, and whole is just being. Look, this is an example of goodness and mercy. You know what I mean? So that is just my connection. Just giving back. You know.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And if I may say, I just quickly want to congratulate you, Miss Alexis, on your achievement of your degree. We are so happy for you. Yes,
Thank you. I know, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Better late than never.
That's
Always,
right.
I
always.
That's
said,
right. That means it's still
if
on
I can
time.
do it, yeah, if I can do it, anybody can. Come on.
Me
Absolutely.
too.
That
Mhm.
inspired me.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Thank
thank you. So I wanted to ask, in terms of our more seasoned, our old school community, do you feel like your community is overlooked when it comes to resources and services? And I would like to speak to Minister Lee. How do you answer that question first?
Well, most definitely, I feel that the senior transgender people are not only overlooked, mistreated as well. The resources that are out there, if you're not tech savvy, if you're not
Mhm. Mhm.
new to the game, or if you're not hanging out with some
you.
folk,
Yeah.
you're not going to know about or the resources that are out there, especially as we're going and getting into um, our years where we need Social Security and and Medicaid and Medi-Cal and everything else. Um, when we're about to retire, and if you're going through something like what I've gone through, is finding yourself being older. So I moved back to Las Vegas. Before, when I lived in Las Vegas, I used to do construction as well as my catering business. Now I'm too old to do that. My body says something different. So where do I go? What resources do I have? As a senior, and now especially as a transgender person, because you still have to go through interviews. Not only do you have to not only do you have to tell people uh, your age, but you still have to in order to get a job, you have to be able to tell what you did in the past. So those type of things come up a lot, that as seniors, and you have this great history of work, but how do you use it? How can you tell people? How can you combine that with your life
Yeah.
now? You know
Yeah. How do you take credit for your previous experience?
exactly,
In your current lived experience.
All
exactly.
right.
Without I mean, when you're a person like, so I'm always out and open, but everybody else doesn't take it the way I see it. Doesn't they may say one thing, you know, but the what comes back to me, did I get the job? Did I get was the interview good? It may have been great. I can show all this great personality and everything like that there, but did I get hired? You know.
Mm,
So that's
mhm.
those type of things is something that we have to deal with, and we need to come up with resources for people who have already lived their lives, and you lived your life in your past experience, and how to combine the past experience with the new experience, and be able to still um, evolve and rise, to be the greatness that you were
Yeah.
meant to.
Yeah. Without having to do the hustle that you have to so many times become a part of in your youth. When you're
Mhm.
trying to get by,
Exactly.
when you're trying to make things work. Everybody
Mhm.
picks up a hustle. If we're selling
Right.
newspapers or, having people sign up for magazine subscriptions, we are we are doing it all to make things meet. So I want to ask Queen Tracy, um, if there was a resources that you could call by name that you would like to see for our elder community, what would that be?
Well, that would be transgender inclusive housing. And we really need data because as an older trans person, in order to realize what the needs would be, you need to be data. Because I was doing some research earlier and I was looking at issues of issues regarding older LGBT people. I'm in the two different websites. They had all these different healthcare issues that could be affected by gays and lesbians. When it came to trans people, there was no data. So first off, I like to see data. I like to see the community being able to get out of the stealth mode and be able to share their lived experience and their health issues and their past health to better inform the future health of the trans community coming up behind that because there is no data that shows like older trans women on hormone therapy, health issues pertaining to a trans masculine person after hysterectomy. I mean, there's no long-term longitudinal data to share about what our life expectancy can be now that we are living longer. So I like to see housing, resources, and affirming care and access to education and medical care and medical care. Because when it comes to transgender people, there's so many variations of our existence. Now, one person could be stealth, gender non-binary, transmasculine. So we all come from a different path. So in order for the healthcare system to learn our individual healthcare needs, we need data. We need data.
That's so important. And even when it comes to data, like
Yeah.
I thought that we were going to be counted in the census, you know, this
Mm-hmm.
year, but most of us know what happened.
Yeah,
Do you think that perhaps our next administration, that would be a good place for us to at least start getting on paperwork that is
def-
county or government related?
definitely, definitely, because that's one of the charges we're gonna hold Kamala Harris responsible for because she's met with Angelica Ross and some other trans celebrities. So Angelica Ross also told us last September in Washington D.C. Call her to action. If she has access to these important people, call her to task to make things different for us. And she definitely said that. So if this administration turns out how I hope it does, it's definitely we had to be definitely in those rooms, at those tables with information and with data.
Absolutely. We have a question from one of our viewers. How can we start conversation around access to medical data?
Well, I think that would be, say for instance, we had like a town hall because a lot of us had to be educated about the need. Because I mean, let's face it, we're African American trans individuals. Our history is so invisible, so unknown. You know what I'm saying? So we need to get together and make sure that we have this information so we can start getting data or get everybody on the same page in the sense of the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Well, it isn't going to happen overnight, but we can
No,
definitely
no.
put some work in to make it happen. So, speaking of resources, we had somebody stop by who wanted to chime in on just that subject. And here is a video.
My name is Unique Zaire. As one of the more proclaimed elders or senior persons within the trans community, I am proud to be one that has existed beyond the typical age period of some that may have been even 35 or 40-ish. All the work that has been done and demonstrated through UWC has been received well, and I urge others within my age bracket, senior, to be involved with what is being done with UWC.
Mhm, mhm,
All right.
Come
mhm,
through,
mhm.
Miss Unique.
Good. Mhm.
Oh, I like that outfit too, girl. Can I get that?
But you
So
know
if
what?
I
I
I
may,
mean,
like.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, babe. Go ahead, Shannon. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So if I may ask you, Miss Tracy, how can we as a village, the younger community, show up and support our elders better?
I think to listen and to be open and be inviting. 'Cause we have such self-imposed trauma we need to deal with first to unpack all that trauma about our lived experiences and how we interact with each other. First of all, we are a community within a community within a community. And in that
Hmm.
community, we have African American trans individuals at different variations of their gender journey. So I think it's important that we get to talk to each other and learn from each other. Because I know working with Miss Major Gift and Gracie, we have retreats. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we stopped having them. But then again, we had our retreats for the trans women in the South. We brought together young trans women, and we had elders to speak with them. I want to just put a shout out for that because the first retreat we had in 2018, there were like 7 attendees. As of yesterday, 6 of them now have their own nonprofits. And they're
Wow.
doing wonderful work in the South. So I think
Amazing.
come together, to build that village and to support that village is really important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Tracy, for that.
Yes.
And can I also ask that same question to Minister Lee? How can the younger generation support our seasoned community better?
Minister Lee, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here. I can't hear Shannon, but I can hear you.
So the question was, how can the younger community members, the younger members of the village, how can they show up for our elders better?
I think just by listening and willing to participate um,
Mm-hmm.
in in the uh, in the outreach, by in the social justice, by willing to um, continue to be yourselves. I know everybody can't be on the front lines, but if everybody can continue to be yourself, so when for instance, when you see me come along and you know whom I am, because everybody doesn't know, but when you know whom I am, then continue to have respect, continue to reach out, continue to say, hey, what do you need? Um, what can I do for you? What can I, how are you doing today? And that goes for me also, for me to be able to do the same things. We get so caught up in our lives, um,
Mm-hmm.
that it seems as though, on a daily basis, you want to say hi and reach out and ask your elders and ask those who came before you and who paved the road, what is it you need? That you get caught up in your life, and you have to stay mindful, have to stay
Mhm.
visual on.
Thank you. And so can we ask the same thing of Unique?
Okay. First, I'm going to say I think that some of our more younger, newer millennium generation of trans people, um, some of them seem to be without patience and understanding, you know, all of the factors in becoming older, or for whatever term that you want to use. Um, I've come to find out over the years that, many, 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 many trans people that are older have various issues, such one being education. I know people that are 60, 70 years old, 80, that they didn't get an education because they were maybe the oldest sibling of maybe 9, 10 kids, 4 or 5, whatever. But they weren't allowed to go to school. They had to stay home and help their parents. Or I've known other trans people that because of their transition and their identity, they
Mm-hmm.
left home at
Mm-hmm.
12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now I was able to educate myself and take my education further, but everyone was not that fortunate. Some of the children wound up in the streets and in the means of survival, just everyday survival. A roof, getting a hotel room, some food.
Mm-hmm.
That took preference over going to school when you had no home to go to.
So
I
right,
know,
so you're basically saying the younger generation should just be mindful of the experience that our elderly community may have lived.
yes, and be a little bit more patient with us. And as well, I also feel that some of our older people need to continue their education, regardless of whatever those circumstances were in the past.
Hmm.
If there was something that the youth could do, we could put together I don't know, a research center or a training center, computer class or something. And maybe some of those youthful people would have a little patience and assist them with that. That might be helpful.
Okay. Thank you for that. That definitely sounds like a great idea. It's sort of like our own tutoring center, So I live. Queen Alexis, how about you?
I'm going to collectively take a little bit of what everyone said, but what most importantly struck out to me was for quite a few of us, Unique, Shayla, Tracy, Lee, 25 years ago, we weren't 25 years older. You know what I mean? So, and there was a component in outreach, where we did a part of outreach was to reach to the elders to see what their needs were, to make that connection, with, because not in that old cliche that we paved the way, but because someone also paved the way for us as well. So it is in as much as Unique, you said that the younger people, if they had a little more patience, you know, this is just my own personal opinion. I think the difference between our age and these millennials is now we have this microwave um, syndrome going on. Everybody wants what they want now. They don't want to put in the work, and that's okay if that works for you. But there are some who have put in the work that need the help of the younger people, the younger generation. And likewise, like with me going back to school as an example, I um, I found myself one day overwhelmed in my car. I didn't even realize that I was having a panic attack and that I was actually crying because I just felt dated. But as time went on, because I pushed the mark, it took a couple of young people that came to me and said, "Well, thank you, Ms. Alexis, for sharing your experience because I knew a wealth of information that they weren't privy to, and likewise,
Mhm.
they were able to help me update my computer skills. Like I was just saying on that other meeting, how do I put a profile picture? Yeah, I had to go and take a computer class, and it was those young people who helped me,
Mhm.
who reassured me that it's okay, you're gonna be fine. And then even just recently, there was a lady who was in my computer class who was 80 years old, and so just by helping her help me, with them helping me help her, so it each one teach one. That's just what.
Mhm.
I love that. Thank you. Whew, wow, look at the time. I cannot believe that the time went by so
Oh my
quickly.
goodness.
Oh my.
Woo. Now they say it goes by pretty fast when you're having fun.
When you're having fun, yeah.
So, um, Shannon.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's on me. Okay,
Yes.
so this year, obviously, the election is pretty important, extremely important. Now, how important is it for us to activate our trans and non-conforming community to get out and vote this year? And so I'll pick two. Which of you would like to respond?
All
I
right.
will. Okay.
Okay, Queen Tracy.
It is imperative that we get our community educated and have the ability to vote. One thing the Obama era did for the transgender community was gave us social and political presence. With this current administration, we're making America great again. That means going back to racism. You see what's going on right now, okay? You see what's going on. We've lost so many African American trans folks on the daily. And we need to get everybody to vote to make sure this administration does not stay in office another 4 years because all the progress we made through those 8 Obama years has almost been washed away. So it's pivotal and imperative that we talk to our young and have to help them understand that they need to vote in order for us to continue our political and social and the ability to just live. Because when I came out in the 70s, we lived on the fringe of society. Today we're not. They're trying to push us back to the fringe of society, and that cannot happen.
Come on,
Absolutely.
girl.
Thank you. You better preach. Cause
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Our lives depend on it.
and who else? One more, please.
I'll go. Can I go?
Okay, sure.
So yes, I agree with Queen Tracy. It's very imperative that everybody gets out and vote. Um, you see how quickly this current administration reversed some things. As soon as they took over, transgender people were no longer allowed in the military. You know,
Okay.
our rights as people, our rights as black people, our rights as people of color, whether you're man, woman, or your rights are quickly being taken away. Whether you're black, straight, Hispanic, anything, your rights are being taken away quickly. If you're on Medicaid, welfare, food stamps, all of that's going to be taken away. It's
Mm-hmm.
imperative that you get out and vote because your life before you know it will be slaves again. Your freedom as a person of color is vote. You have to vote on that. That's not a given. You're not given freedom. That has to still be voted on. It's very imperative that you recognize how quickly your rights can be taken and
Mm-hmm.
sent back 4, 5, 600 years. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
need to get out and vote, register, be seen, be heard, be known, be loud, so that we can continue to move forward and not backwards.
And
Absolutely.
any of my sisters and brother, I have reliable transportation. If you need a ride to the poll, then let me know.
Thank you for that, Queen. And that
Happening.
is
Yeah.
important. We definitely
Yeah,
need to mobilize as communities, like
absolutely.
we need to start activating our phone trees. Just like all those
Mm-hmm.
supremacists, they activated their phone trees during that last election. We need to start
Mm-hmm.
activating our phone trees and get it together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, oh, I'm so serious. Like these
Yeah.
laws, like
Yeah.
Minister Lee said, and Tracy both, our rights have been reversed, and
Mm-hmm.
erasure is real. It's
Mm-hmm.
something like how they say about trust. It takes years to build and a moment to crack, right? That's the same
Mm-hmm.
way that these laws, it takes us forever to get them on the books, and then it takes one administration to just wipe them out. So,
Yeah.
Queen Shannon.
Absolutely. So, in closing, if you could give an inspiring message to the generations after you, what would that message be? And we can start with Minister Lee.
Um, so, if you could leave a message for the next generation, what would it be, Minister Lee?
Live your life. Be true to yourself. Stay authentic, and continue to be truthful, and give and move forward for the next generation. Keep your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Find
Thank
your
you.
freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Miss
And
First off,
Alexis.
oh, go ahead. First off, I want to give a shout out to my San Diego children. They're all here on. Hello, Monique. Hello, Amber. Hello, everybody. And those are my babies, and that's the really most important part. Hello, Monique. Really most important part, to have influence and to help them understand that how my path was elevated through sobriety and through me coming forward and living my true authentic self, not in the dark, not on the streets, not in the club, not on the stage, but in the office, in the suites, up in
Come
the education
on.
Yeah,
complexes,
come
up
on.
in the Bank of America, up in
Girl.
every place. We belong
Yeah,
at the top. So
yeah.
we start that ladder. So I'd like for you to continue it. Get your shit together, Get your look together and live your best motherfucking life.
Ah,
Hey, baby.
Yes.
And in that
Come
and in that
through.
order.
In that order.
Come
In that
through.
motherfucking order, okay?
yes.
I am not mad. Um, so one more.
Okay, so for me, you know, we gotta love ourselves, you know, and respect self, you know, because somewhere in this evolution of life, you know, there is a lack of self-respect, which translates to respecting others. So I say, love on yourself, like you know, I mean, goodness, so that you are able to love on others. You know, each one teach one. You know, support the old just the way you want, the same way you want the old to support you. You got to support us. You know, that's it.
Simple as that, right?
Facts.
Wow, facts. This has been so amazing.
Absolutely.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right.
Along my journey, I have met some amazing people, different ages, from different backgrounds, who all live a different experience. I wanted to create conversations where we could talk about celebrity buzz, trending issues, but mostly about things that impact our lives. My name is Shayla, and welcome to our world. Just want to remind everyone that Melanin Magic is a spin-off segment from Shayla and the Girls Next Door, which we
okay.
actually start filming again next month. So I'm really excited
Oh, good.
for you all to meet the new babies that we have on board with us. And so it's been a beautiful and amazing, but most importantly, a necessary conversation for us to have with you this evening. We want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out to be with us, to share the energy that you have. And you are all amazing. And we look up to you and we thank you for all that you are and for all that you do.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Thank
everyone.
you, ladies.
Thank you.
Alexis, Shannon, Unique, Minister, Shayla.
All of you. All of you.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. And we'll take it out with our UWC promo. And just to say, as the president of UWC, I am so proud to announce that we are we have moved our office, and so we are now in a larger office space. We are open 4 days a week now, Tuesday through
Wow.
Friday. Queen Shannon is our drop-in center coordinator.
All
So
right.
if you need some
Right
assistance,
on.
please come through.
Come on down.
We are not just about unique women, we are about our community in its entirety. And so it doesn't matter. So we respect and we comfort and we embrace our brethren and all of our royal siblings. And so again, thank you very much for everyone and to all of you that have poured it into us over the Pride holiday. We just thank you. You've allowed us to grow. To our friends at Trans Latina Coalition, who have, as our Latina sisters have showed up and said, you know, your office closed during the pandemic because it's on a university campus. We believe in what you do. And so we're going to pay your rent for 1 year in your new office space. So I
Wow.
just want to put that out there. That's
Oh, yeah.
how we move
Show
forward.
up.
Mhm.
Right.
That's how we show up for each other.
Yes.
And so I just want to say thank you. And
Wow.
join us again in 2 weeks for another dose of Melanin Magic. Until then, the love is still real.
All
Good
right.
Women's Coalition.
It's an us thing. Unique Women's Coalition.
It's an us thing.
Unique Women's Coalition. It's an us thing.